On our last video, we talked about Cloth, one of the most powerful ancient red dragons of the Forgotten Realms. With his ability to increase his power level at will through a ritual, he has the potential to become the most powerful mortal being in existence, if only for a few hours. There is, however, another red dragon of note, one who needs not any ritual or help to simply be immensely powerful. Today, we're going to cover Inferno, possibly the second most powerful dragon of all time. The top dragon is still, and probably will always be, Dargothoth, with a challenge rating of 50, which is over 20 points higher than the Tarrasque. Inferno, on the other hand, has a challenge rating of 40, putting him on second position, though still making him the strongest true dragon alive, since Dargothoth, of course, is a Dracolich and so technically is dead. We don't have the greatest amount of information on Inferno since he is one of the most solitary dragons out there, but what we do have is absolutely mind-blowing. However, before we get into it, guys, I am currently running a Kickstarter, and it is running out of time. Sands of Doom is a full 5th edition campaign for characters level 1 to level 11. And here's the trailer.
Oh, great Sultana! Listen to my counsel. Do not send your men into that ruin. The Anubian treasures have awakened. Their portents of doom whisper their coming. You think yourself the ruler of Al-Kirat, but these lands have always been theirs. Their monuments a testament to their might. You will bear the plagues for your sacrilege. The dead will roam the desert and paint the sands crimson. Dust will storm, rivers will flood. Blood will rain from the very stars. Disease and pestilence will cover your grass fields, and soon enough, even the sun will abandon you. Amu will come for you, and your precious little city will fall. You have imprisoned me for this prophecy, but I know something you don't. That is not a tomb. That is a prison. And you will set him free!
I hope that you enjoyed it. Click the link below and check out Sands of Doom, a 5th edition campaign written all by me. We got DM screens, battle maps to go along with it, and an absolutely amazing collector's edition cover. Check out this cover, it's absolutely amazing. Sands of Doom on Kickstarter, link below. Now, on to the video. Inferno's real name is Invirnaro, however it is notoriously difficult for humanoids to pronounce, as you can see, and so people have developed the moniker Inferno for him. Its proper title really is Inferno of the Star Mounts, since the Star Mounts is where he lairs. The Star Mounts are a collection of extremely high mountains that rise from the high forest, probably one of the best real estates for a dragon to have in the entirety of the continent. The high forest is of course the largest forest in the land, which is simultaneously away from noisy and troublesome cities, but at the same time chock full of civilizations, cultures, magic, and ancient ruins. And the mountains sit right at its heart. The mountains themselves are extremely difficult to climb for being so very vertical, while also not having any dungeon or cave system that runs within it. Plus, there is a perpetual cyclone that runs all around the mountains, which prevents any normal creatures from being able to fly through it and into the top of the mountains. Only a massive creature like a physically strong dragon would have the ability to be able to push through that cyclone. And so, for normal people, the only way to get to the top of the mountain would be to climb it, but without any easy trails, it is just a complete nightmare to do so. Now, the top of the mountains were also said to have been populated by ancient elves for just how beautiful the stars look like while atop it. And to top it all off, there are powerful Netherese ruins and artifacts at the top of the mountains as well, yielding invaluable research material. The most interesting of which is a Netherese portal that links the top of the mountain to a hidden location on the far end of the continent. The lore doesn't really specify where the portal leads to exactly, but it does say that it leads onto the opposite corner of Faerun, into a vastly open land where all that you can see are herds of roaming animals and where no man hunts. So in essence, the mountains have a way for whoever controls it to simply teleport onto the farthest corner of the continent, where one could hunt and eat freely and without danger. And so, here you have probably the most coveted location for a dragon to hold dominion over. And who is the one that controls it? Inferno, the most naturally powerful ancient red dragon in the land. The reason he ended up becoming so strong is actually something so simple yet so alien to the traditionally neurotic draconic brain. Most dragons rely exclusively on their breath weapon in order to cover their main elemental form of attack, and it makes sense why they would do that, of course, since the dragon's breath attack is almost always more powerful than virtually any elemental spell that the dragon would otherwise be able to muster. You can do the math. A dragon's fire breath is just simply going to do more damage than any fire spell of 6th or 7th level, and so why would they ever try to develop their fire magic as a red dragon? It feels like it would just be a waste of time. So what typically most dragons do is they practice magic that complements their breath weapon. See, a red dragon might try practicing lightning magic in order to fight creatures that would be resistant to fire. Or they might try to practice cold magic in order to protect themselves against cold magic. But the thing to understand here is that dragons are magical creatures that are seeped in elemental power. A red dragon is as close to fire as salamanders or fire giants are. Fire runs in their veins. Fire is their very existence. So then the question is, what happens when a red dragon focuses on the mastery of fire magic? Well, the Inferno of the Star Mounds is what happens. Inferno's knowledge of magic is not even remotely close to Dorgothoth. Like, they're not even on the same realm here. Inferno is but a child compared to Dorgothoth in arcane intellect. But when it comes to actually casting magic, it is the other way around. Now you might wonder, how can you beat Dorgothoth in casting magic when we already described him as being able to cast like 5 9th level sorcerer spells plus 4 9th level wizard spells? Well, Inferno can only cast 7 9th level spells, only, but he has 2 10th level spell slots, 2 11th level spell slots, 1 12th level spell slot, and 1 13th level spell slot. And these spell slots are all sorcerer spell slots, so these are all from his natural ability to be able to use his innate power to project his own magic onto the world. Now, why do I make such a big deal about this? Well, we have already covered a lot of dragons, and throughout all those videos, you have seen time and time again that the reason these dragons are so powerful are because of extraneous magics, things outside of themselves that have granted them that power. Whether it is Imrith learning about Netherese magic, or Arvechuras being enchanted by a wizard, or Dorgothoth being turned into a Dracolich and then spending hundreds of years learning wizardly magic. Inferno is just simply naturally powerful. There is no tome that he reads, there is no wizard that buffed him, there is no magic item that he found. He is simply an abomination of untold power that he cultivated and practiced until he became completely unstoppable. This raw, innate power is represented in him being able to cast spells far beyond 9th level. In this regard, surpassing the most powerful archmages of even Netheril, since the most powerful spell ever created was only a 12th level spell. And this guy can muster 13th level magic. Now, that being said, of course, Mystra, the goddess of magic, banned the usage of any spell of 10th level or higher unless it is Elvish high magic, since, well, she can't really ban those. Those are under the purview and jurisdiction of Corlin Larithian, and he only allows elves to cast those. However, what Inferno can do with these really powerful spell slots is still really cool. Inferno can use these high-level spell slots to quicken powerful spells. A 10th level slot can be used to quicken a 6th level spell, an 11th slot to quicken a 7th level spell, a 12th slot for an 8th level spell, and lastly, Inferno can spend its 13th level all-powerful spell slot to quicken a 9th level spell. Using 5th edition rules, this means that Inferno could use that 13th level spell slot to cast a 9th level spell as a bonus action, letting him then spend his action to either do his full roster of melee attacks or even use his powerful breath weapon on the same turn. But somehow, believe it or not, his power goes even beyond that as well. He can naturally, without spending anything extra, simply cast any spell of 6th level or lower as if it was already quickened. Just like that. Every single disintegrate spell, every hold monster spell, it's all just bonus actions for him. And wait until you hear about the spell teleport being a 5th level spell back in 3rd edition. Inferno could cast that as a bonus action as well, at least back in the day. And this is why I say that his ability to cast magic is far beyond basically every other mortal creature in this world. Spells of 6th level and under are automatically quickened for him, and spells of above 6 can become quickened by his spell slots of 10th level and higher. Now, of course, most of the spells that Inferno knows are all fire-based, which in a way is both his strength and his weakness. Focusing so hard on fire magic has allowed him to surpass the limits that no one else thought possible, but at the same time, countering Inferno is easier since his offensive spells are all just fire. So you can see it right here. As far as I can see, he only has 2 spells that do not deal fire damage. That would be Vampiric Touch and Disintegrate. Now, I suppose that you could also technically count Meteor Swarm, since that deals some bludgeoning damage on top of the fire damage. But I digress. Do be wary that he does possess non-offensive spells, some of which are very dangerous, but at least as far as offensive magic is concerned, as long as you have a way to deal with the fire damage, then you should be mostly okay. Oh, and if you are curious, his Fire Breath deals 38 d10 fire damage. How fun. A typical Ancient Red Dragon averages around 91 fire damage per person hit with their breath, while Inferno averages 209 fire damage per person hit. That is more than twice the damage of an Ancient Red Dragon. It's not even fair. Now, it is said that he spends his time doing one of 2 things. If he's not empowering or practicing his fire magic, he is sleeping, both of which he is excellent at. The fabled dragon sleep is a practice mastered by Inferno, who sleeps for decades at a time. And as far as wealth is concerned, I would be shocked, frankly shocked, to hear a creature having more treasure than Inferno, all of which is scattered all across the mountains. See, when I say that he lairs in the Star Mounts, I'm actually being very, very vague. The Star Mounts are a lot of mountains, and the place is quite big. Now, most people believe that the dragon has taken the tallest peak of the mountain range, Angaroth, as its lair. That is because legends have come down of a mysterious cave at the very tip filled with deadly traps and powerful golems. However, this is merely a diversion. See, a long time ago, the cave used to belong to another dragon who Inferno slayed. That dragon had laired in the cave and had filled it with all manner of traps, making it an inaccessible creature-slaying death cave. Inferno never settled on it, but did find it quite humorous how adventurers thought that he laired there, and then they would keep on coming, attempting to bypass his dangers. Presuming, of course, that there would be a lot of treasure hidden inside, when in reality, of course, there is no treasure within it, as Inferno has already claimed it, but alas, adventurers would just keep on coming and would keep on dying at the cave. And those that would survive would come out without any spoils to claim, something that Inferno finds quite funny. Now, instead, Inferno has dozens of smaller caves scattered all across the Star Mounts where he keeps both his treasure and the piles of coins that he uses for his beds. He is so wealthy that the lore describes him having dozens of sleeping caves that he uses, and each of them having at least 100,000 gold pieces each. Far be it for Inferno to sleep in an amount of gold without it having at least 100,000 gold pieces on it. And those are not even his treasure rooms, those are just his beds. The lore doesn't describe in intricate detail the types of treasure that Inferno possesses, but we do know the vastness of it. We are told that just in gold coins, okay, just in gold coins, Inferno is worth 12 million. So basically, he physically possesses 12 million gold coins. So this doesn't take into account how much he would have in silver coins, copper coins, or any other coinage, such as electrum or platinum. It also doesn't take into consideration any precious stones or the worth of any magical item on his hoards. And it is also worth noting that Inferno's collection of rubies is particularly meant to be very impressive. This, as far as I can tell, might make Inferno the wealthiest creature that I have seen in D&D. Aside of those dragons who are, say for example, heads of state, a dragon that would own a city and could presumably claim the whole city as its wealth. We don't really count those, I suppose, in this scenario. But anyhow, in terms of his wealth, what we do have are the magic items that he specifically carries when he's out hunting or when he fights adventurers. So let's actually go through them. He uses a necklace of absorption, which functions just like a rod of absorption. He has a brooch of shielding, but instead of a brooch, it would take on the form of a ring that he would wear on one of his horns. He has a ring of spell turning and a ring of theurgy. The ring of theurgy just basically allows Inferno to learn extra spells. It's nothing too fancy. He also carries with him multiple crystal balls, typically one of each kind available. And lastly, he uses what in 3rd edition used to be called bracers of armor. This effectively functions as armor, but in the form of a bracer. It's a very common item that is meant to replace armor for creatures that do not want to wear armor. Now in 5th edition, we do have them, but they go under the name of the bracers of defense. So this would just give Inferno a +2 to AC. But now that we have covered his power, his lair, and his wealth, let's finalize this by talking a little bit about his personality. Like, what should you expect when encountering such a powerful red dragon? Quote, Inferno seems smugly amused by unfolding events around him. He seems to view the world as an endless pageant presented for his personal entertainment. His manner is more lordly whimsical than proud, sneering, or condescending, and it's nigh impossible to know what thoughts lurk behind it. Inferno likes to know his foes. Before revealing himself in any confrontation, he'll want to observe intruders, making sure he's aware of all of them and of their caches, any hiding places, and any magical concealments or misdirections. He might cast spells to find out as much as he can about who is approaching, and then enjoy trying to correctly anticipate what they're up to and what tactics they will adopt. He takes great delight in successfully manipulating humans and other humanoid races into doing things he wants, and even greater delight in aiming a weapon by somehow getting a human to go and do a task or attack a target of Inferno's choosing. After centuries of delighting in magic and largely ignoring other intelligent beings and their societies, Inferno is enjoying honing his manipulative skills. Turning defiance to fear is enjoyable too. Inferno will try to make adventurers who reach him turn aside from trying to attack or rob him, and instead strike against Centarum, active in Anorok and across the north, certain wizards and sorcerers in Silvery Moon, and members of the Cult of the Dragon, whose identities and whereabouts he seems well versed in, all across the Heartlands and the north. End quote. It does appear that Inferno's isolationist tendencies are indeed changing. Because of the portal that exists within its lair, he has chosen to virtually never show up anywhere near his lair. He used to never show up around any portion of the High Forest and beyond, and instead relying on the portal to fly around on the other side of the continent unimpeded. But now, things are a-changing. He has been scrying more often, feeding the right information to the right people in order to spur them into action that would benefit him ultimately. And he has been threatening humanoids through his sending spells, forcing them to do his bidding or else. It's possible that he's doing all this purely to be entertained, but could there be another reason? Could we soon see a novel, an adventure, or even a movie with action being taken by one of the strongest creatures in Faerun? I guess we will have to see. There are, of course, other dragons on a similar level to Inferno, though whether you would consider them true dragons or not might be debatable. There's, of course, the drow dragon Jesred and the fiendish dragon demigod Chazar, both of which are CR40 dragons, just like Inferno. But hey, we did cover a Dracolich, so we might cover them as well. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and click the link below on the video description to go and check out my new adventure, Sands of Doom, on Kickstarter. There's only so much time left, so make sure that you get your copy now while you can. So click the link below and check it out.